Welcome back, Love Nation. This is Nina. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that has been coming to my channel. Like this video, share this video, and hit that notification bell so you guys know when I drop my next one. You guys, we're going to get straight into part 7. We are discussing Fat Joe's ex-hype man's lawsuit, and there is a lot of, let's just say, not so above board activities which are being alleged here. And again, this is the full reading of the lawsuit, and he is accusing not only Fat Joe of many employment grievances, but he is also talking about Rock Nation and what he is alleging that they did during this time of his employment. Let's just go ahead and get straight into part 7. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, share your comments below, donate if you can. Let's just get straight into this. Section F, Forced Exhibitionism and Enterprise Adult Activity Culture. Defendant's coercive control over plaintiff was not limited to financial manipulation and abandonment. He routinely employed verbal intimidation and psychological threats to maintain plaintiff's submission. As previously stated, defendant frequently told plaintiff that no one exits Terror Squad in one piece, a chilling phrase meant to reinforce the consequences of disloyalty or challenging his authority. The defendant repeatedly referenced what happened to former Terror Squad artist Cuban Link, who was physically pawed and had a gash put on his face, leaving him with permanent nerve damage and visible scarring. This is a picture of before the incident with Cuban Link, and then this is after the incident pictured with Cuban Link. The lawsuit continues. This reference was not abstract. Defendant pointedly reminded the plaintiff of the physical consequences that could accompany disobedience or separation. These statements were made in moments of dispute or tension, particularly when plaintiff raised issues of compensation. The message was clear: if you cross me, you'll end up like him. These threats and context serve to reinforce a climate of fear, submission, and dependency, depriving plaintiff of his agency and reinforcing defendant's psychological dominance. Tactics that directly support plaintiff's claim for forced labor under the TVPA and establish a factual basis for emotional distress and trauma. Section G, Forced Adult Acts under Duress and Surveillance. Beyond coerced adult activity acts, defendant Fat Joe forced plaintiff into repeated acts of public exhibitionism designed to degrade and exert control under the guise of loyalty tests and group bonding rituals. Defendant Fat Joe routinely orchestrated adult activity coercive scenarios in which plaintiff was compelled to engage in said activities with women brought to hotel rooms following live performances, tour events, or private studio sessions. These incidents were carefully arranged by defendant and occurred in environments fully controlled by him. In many instances, defendant remained present during these encounters, watching, recording, or verbal commands and commentary. On one occasion in Miami, after a concert, defendant brought a woman back to his hotel suite. He then ordered plaintiff to sleep with her in front of the group, insisting the bathroom doors stay open and shouting, "Get your man parts together, TA." Members of the enterprise, including JB and Pistol Pete Torres, stood in the room watching and laughing, with one individual remarking, "Yo, Joe, I'm not about to stand here and watch this other man's junk." Plaintiff did not participate willingly. His compliance was driven by the credible and persistent threat of retaliation, including the loss of income, removal from the tour, or public humiliation. When plaintiff attempted to resist or assert boundaries, defendant swiftly retaliated. The plaintiff's pay was withheld, his travel plans were abruptly canceled, or he was threatened with abandonment in foreign countries without access to money, shelter, or safe passage home. These tactics were designed to instill fear and reinforce defendant's total control over plaintiff's body and behavior. Roc Nation, which assumed management of the defendant's affairs in 2017, either knew or should have known of these repeated high-profile incidents. The events took place at branded venues, involved staff under Roc Nation's supervision, and were discussed openly in touring circles. Despite this, Roc Nation took no disciplinary action, performed no internal audits, and continued to collect commissions, royalty, and brand equity derived from defendants' public persona, built in part on the backs of individuals like plaintiff, who were humiliated into submission. These acts constitute further violation under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, as well as under United States 18241, conspiracy to deprive civil rights, and multiple provisions of New York and Florida SA abuse statutes. They also serve as racketeering predicates under SUED sections USC 18, 1961b, representing a pattern of exploitation used by Fat Joe's enterprise to exert control and retaliate against noncompliance. The plaintiff suffered severe psychological damage from these episodes, including deletion ideology, disassociation, and complex trauma. He continues to receive treatment for post-traumatic symptoms and lives in constant fear of retaliation. The deliberate orchestration of these acts, paired with enterprise-wide complicity, retaliation for resistance, and ongoing threats, reinforce the notion that these were not one-off abuses, but integral to the culture and functioning of said enterprise. Each episode of forced adult activity performance, humiliation, or public coercion constitutes a separate predicate under the TVPA and RICO, entitling plaintiff to compensatory, punitive, and injunctive relief. The pattern described herein mirrors established traffic, where coercion, fraud, and power dynamics were used to extract adult compliant behavior and suppress whistleblowing. Defendant Fat Joe's actions violated not only federal criminal statutes, but fundamental human decency. His conduct rendered plaintiff a victim of commercial exploitation by coercion, a core violation of TVPA, and a cornerstone of Fat Joe's enterprise power structure. Section H. Defendant's pattern and practice of traffic-like conduct. Defendant Fat Joe's conduct toward plaintiff was not an isolated deviation, but part of a broader, deliberate pattern of control. Upon information and belief, defendant has employed similar coercive tactics to dominate and exploit other subordinate artists, staff, and creative collaborators within his circle. These tactics include financial isolation, deprivation of basic resources, manipulation of travel and lodging arrangements, the systematic extraction of unpaid creative labor, and in some cases, coerced adult activity compliance, arranged or demanded for the defendant's gratification or public image management. This message of operation reveals an established structure of exploitation in which defendant exercises full control over the lives, careers, bodies, and identities of those who work closest to him. It It is precisely this structure that forms the basis of trafficking-related counts alleged in his complaint. The pattern is not incidental. It is systematic, coordinated, and integral to the defendant's personal and professional enterprise. I am actually going to pause the reading right here, and we're going to come back with part 8 very shortly, because we are getting into we're getting knee deep into this lawsuit, and I think a lot more might come out with this situation. This lawsuit and allegations are not being spoken out about enough, and there is, don't get me wrong, a lot of things going on right now with a lot of other celebrities, but I think this one actually might bubble over and become the next large case. There's a lot of issues being put out and alleged in this lawsuit. I definitely want to know what you guys think. This will be the end of part 7. We will be coming back very shortly with part 8. Like, share, subscribe. Till next time, be safe and enjoy your day. Bye, guys.